Welcome to the 2018 Six Demon Bag Halloween Spooktacular, blah, blah, blah.
I'm your first host, Jeffy Kruger.
And I'm the host from hell, Drew the Ripper.
This is your host with the most, Night of the Living Ed.
This is Ryan, the Restless Wanderer.
Blind boys don't lie. Immortal fear.
Monster survival plans.
Pod people.
Ooh, I just watched The Invasion yesterday.
Yeah,
too.
I just read your journal entry at emurtelac.wordpress.net.
Thank you. I was not
Side
too
slash.
impressed with it. It was hard. It's hard to fuck up a remake.
Yeah,
of
I
Invasion.
watched it, but I don't remember it at all.
Yeah, and they didn't sell it as a remake of The Invasion of Pod People.
Even
so
though it's called Invasion.
I figured it was, but I didn't get it until I actually started watching it. And I was like, oh, this is just
One of my favorite scenes
Pod People.
in any horror movie or thriller.
Is it this scene?
When they point and they yell.
That's a classic moment.
Thank you.
But
From the 70s remake.
more generically, is any scene where the protagonists just fucking start handling business and just get super proactive.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a scene in the 70s remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers where they're like, oh, we can't sleep. That's when they take you over and they clone you into a pod person. And they get locked in a lab. And so they find like some amphetamines and like, we gotta stay awake. And they just do a massive dose of amphetamines.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the people grabs like a little dart or something, and then the pod people come in thinking they're asleep, and then they just fucking freak out like meth heads and stab the pod people in the heads with this little dart. And it was like, holy shit!
That's in which version?
In
Donald
the
Sutherland
70s
one.
version, the
70s
Donald
Mr.
Southern
Spock.
version.
Yeah.
It's like they're doing speed and stabbing people in the head.
Yeah,
and
it's pretty crazy.
awesome.
It's all a metaphor.
So what would you do if you realized that people in society were slowly being replaced?
That's a creepy scenario. So.
Super
Man,
creepy.
I would just go to sleep and forget my troubles.
And
Join
in
the
the
collective.
invasion, they were inoculating people. They used the paranoia to be like, oh, there's like a SARS epidemic and everybody needs to be inoculated. And they were injecting people willfully with the shit that would turn them into pod people.
That's kind of good.
And they had all the health professionals. That was the best scene of that movie.
Well, I always avoid the flu shot, so I'd probably still be okay.
They had all the health professionals in a conference, and they panned to the back of the room, and the people serving the coffee kept bobbing their heads, and then it cut to them, and they were spitting in their coffee, and I was like, oh, that was pretty cool. It was the best part of that movie, honestly. But
It's so... Oh, man.
a big, massive infection.
There's
that-
nothing you can do because no one believes you.
Yeah,
no
because
one,
everybody's paranoid. Everybody's paranoid in this day and age right now, anyway.
Yeah.
And
So
actually,
that's a good one.
Guns.
you'd want to,
Guns.
I've always, in my secret paranoid fantasies, have kind of wanted to have worked out like a code phrase
Mm-hmm.
with different people.
They did that in the invasion. She worked out a code with her son. That was like this little word association game they would play, and if she said the word,
I gotta tell you, this movie sounds killer.
It's not very good because it has a happy ending, which is bullshit.
In the original, in the 50s version, they all get taken over.
In the original, it ends with the guy telling everybody, "You're next, and like
Oh, yeah.
trying to warn people, and they're not listening to him.
It leads right into It's a Wonderful Life.
And
So-
the second one ends with the main guy, spoilers, like, oh, yelling when the girlfriend thinks he's okay.
Yeah, it's the girlfriend who's like somehow beat all the odds and hidden out and
I feel like that's the
lived on the
thing.
lam as like this
good one.
awesome
Pod.
ninja on the outskirts of society. And then she reaches out to Donald Sutherland.
And he just... And Abel Ferrer's one has them land in the helicopter at the military base, and you can't tell... You just can't tell, because it's the military. You can't tell the military from the pod people, which is great.
Can you genuinely inoculate yourself against it somehow by taking like a small dose? I don't know how it works. It works different in every movie.
Some people were immune to it, which was bullshit.
'Cause-
They changed the rule a little. You know how they do that in some
Yeah.
Like in Village of the Damned, they changed the remake. They changed it so one of the kids could think like independently from the group.
I never saw any of those. But in
Sucked.
the original,
and
like,
then in
50s...
Dawn of the Dead, they changed it so that not everybody died. Everybody in Dawn of the Dead, the original, everybody who dies becomes a zombie. In Dawn of the Dead, the remake, only if you're bitten and die do you become a zombie, which sucked.
Yeah,
and in this one,
scary.
it was like there were some people that were immune and they developed a cure and they beat it off.
Well,
They beat it off.
I feel like in the original
Sweet
Invasion
cock.
of the Body Snatchers, they just got rid of the original and made a clone. Isn't that right?
Yeah,
didn't,
they
take over
replaced the
body.
person.
Yeah, so there would
An
be no inoculating
yeah,
yourself
and that's
against
that's
that.
the other thing that sucked. In the Invasion, you could reverse the process.
Right.
And I'm like, well, then it's not Invasion of the Body Snatchers anymore.
I would like move out if for some miracle I wasn't just immediately assimilated, which is what would happen. I would like move away. I would try to like move away, but like you move out into the like middle of nowhere, right?
The boonies.
Yeah, you like go off the grid. You're living in the woods, but eventually they're gonna be creeping up on you in the night, like just out of the darkness. They're gonna come for you, and that would be the scariest moment of all.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You
because
can't
you'd
defeat
be-
urban sprawl.
But also, no man is an island. It is virtually impossible to be truly self-sufficient and independent. Like you may be a good survivalist, you may be able to live off the land, but you're not a doctor and a dentist.
Yeah, even the old timey
And
trappers went into town on
Eventually, you
occasion.
need something. yeah.
Eventually, you need someone, and then not only would you be afraid of everyone you came into contact with, but every contact could be your last. Or if you meet someone who's friendly, but who do they know, and can you trust them? Like when people are the enemy, it gets really grim, really
I feel like
fast.
there's really no good way out of this situation.
And
Space.
even the idea of having like a code phrase or something that you could work out, that only your best friend of 30 years would know. Now with like Facebook and all the
they
leaks
totally
and all
hack
the
you.
passord cracks, like
The phone's watching you. and
yeah,
stuff.
your phone's listening, and
This is
your
side
Alexa
bag.
and Siri.
Like
Like they could probably figure out what your phrase
Yeah.
is. All right, so pod people, we would try to
die
flee.
and become pods.
We either become pod people
Go
or,
out to the ocean.
or crazy hermits.
Or
Well,
just-
this was the one cool thing about the invasion. Besides the fact that one of the kids was a pod person, and on Halloween night poisoned the other kids' candy to turn them into pod people. That was
Wow.
cool.
Nice.
I gotta see this movie again.
It's good until the end, but the end thing that's interesting is they change it and they change back. They defeat the pod people and they go back and everything is in the world is strife again and stuff. And when you're pod people, when the pod
harmony.
people are taking over, all the news reports are like North Korea is agreeing to get rid of nuclear weapons and all this kind of
Why
stuff
would they
because they
even
were pod
bother
people. Like all the
having
pod people
news?
were like the same, and there was no strife. And it was like
No, it's our world, but if everyone was suddenly of one mind,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they wouldn't need newspapers and news reports. They
Well-
would just know.
Well, they were slowly taking over still.
They were
So it
still
was
acting
in the news.
people.
Everybody
I
was
see.
all of a sudden
I
laying
see.
down their weapons, and Hamas was like, everything that's happening now is just ending. And it was like because the pod people were taking over, and then when they beat it back, he's reading, Daniel Craig's reading the newspaper, and it's all gone to shit again and stuff.
and it's this crazy theme that sometimes arises in good sci-fi, which is you could solve a lot of humanity's problems if you could just sand the edges off of human nature. But at that point,
At
what
what
have you
cost?
lost and what have you gained?
Yeah.
Exactly. If we're not humans anymore in the sense that we always have been humans, do we want to live forever as some not quite human thing?
The answer is yes.
Well, because old girls,
You should
Nicole
all join.
Kidman's breaking point
They
was
all
like
dress
Daniel
like
Craig's
sexy
talking to her
handmaids.
like, we're gonna be totally the same, and it's gonna be great, and think of all the problems are gonna be gone and all this. And Nicole Kidman's thing was like, well, what about my son? He's immune to this, so what's gonna happen to him? And they were like, well, we have to get rid of everybody who's immune because they don't fit in anymore. And she's like, well, then no, I can't be a part of it. And that was her breaking point and stuff.
Fucking great movie. Jeez.
It sounds great, but it wasn't that great.
Cry, little sister.
All right, I'm going into the side bag. Quaint Cult. Your Children's of the Corns, your Wickermans. When you go into a sleepy seaside village.
Corn rigs and barley.
Your Dagons. Did anyone ever see that movie?
Yes.
It was a bad movie.
So what would you do if you were vacationing in some quaint town and you started to realize, like, there's a lot of sickles around?
Jeez, man, this is another pod person scenario.
Well, you leave town.
Yeah, you just gotta leave
Well,
town, man,
you leave
if
town,
you can.
but
burn
what
the
do
corn,
you know? Your car's not working
burn the
anymore.
fields,
yeah.
and when you're done with that, burn the house.
Yeah, this is a besieging thing where you fort up, I guess.
Yeah.
But how do
Alamo.
you gotta find a way
they
out
all
of
died
town.
at the Alamo.
You gotta find a way out of town. Maybe you play along. Like, oh yeah, teach me.
Okay, but
Imhotep.
when you try to play along, they're like, "All right, brother Ed, first thing you got to do is sacrifice one of your children."
Waste this kid.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
You do it on the spot, or can we have to go to a place?
Yeah, no, you waste the ringleader and then you run.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I would try to talk it into, like, well, we should do it in the cornfield or whatever, so, Brother Jebediah.
You don't want to go into the
let me
cornfield.
use
No.
the truck.
Jesus.
He who walks behind the
This
rows.
is for he who
gonna
walks
get
behind
ya.
the rows, yeah. But then you get the truck and pile the kids in and
Truck's not running.
hell bent for leather.
No, man.
That's because this is a quaint scenario. Very rustic.
Yeah,
Get
I
in a
don't
horse
know.
and buggy.
Guns. They definitely have guns again.
They may not have guns in this
No, they
little
might have
quicker
done away with
town.
Can you
yeah,
preach
it might
an
be like
alternative
Amish.
religion?
I don't think that would go over too well in a
It would-
cult scenario.
It wouldn't work because the demon who's leading these kids actually has provable
Yeah,
powers.
it's pretty hard to argue around when you got he who walks around the road right
Yeah,
there in front of you.
yeah, actually killing dudes.
One of the great parts, and I think it was Rambo Part 3.
The one in Afghanistan.
No,
The one where he helps the Taliban, you monster.
no. There's a scene in Rambo where he
I must break you, that
gra-
one?
he grabs a chicken and like he kills it and goes through this like cornfield or this like tall grass, and the soldiers are following this blood trail through.
Oh, that's the fourth one, the new one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's soaked the whole field in gasoline, and so once all the soldiers are inside.
Oh wait, no, that's 2, I think, right? Isn't that 2?
Yeah, it's
I
2
don't
or
know.
3. I
We're
don't
gonna
know,
need
man.
to do a marathon, I think.
Well, there's
Anyway,
no
all I'm
cornfields in
saying
Afghanistan, so
is
there must have been
use
2.
a cornfield or a hayfield against the Quaint Cult.
Oh, get them all into the
Well, that's
into
how
the
they
field and then
defeat
burn
the
'em.
he who must walk behind the rows. They, or he who walks behind the
You
rows.
got a brave he who walks behind the rows.
They
either way.
just burn him.
Or get them all in the barn.
You don't need to be faster. You just need to be faster than
You
Malachi.
can feed them all moonshine, and then burn them.
With moonshine.
Yeah, they got to be done with that corn mash because
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's got to be like
Like
the blood
all
of the
kids
hero.
want to do is drink, especially country bumpkin kids. So if you can get an
got some
ample
meth
supply
on you.
of booze,
Yeah, it's like,
meth.
hey guys, I'm down with your religion. Ever hear a rum springer? And then just
let's all
insane-
celebrate.
Insane Clown Posse and Trucker Speed and Cheap Viagra and Grinder and Tinder.
celebratory,
And
all
just
that
let-
stuff. Ooh,
Just
yeah.
let 21st century America destroy them.
Come to your brother.
How do you survive? Salder swarm,
What?
Spider Swarm.
spider swarm.
Like an arachnophobia kind of thing?
Arachnophobia, Kingdom
Kingdom
of
of
the Spiders.
Get your stomping boots for one thing.
Yeah.
Oh, arachnophobia scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly. It was right up my alley.
I'm not afraid of spiders, so I don't know about this one.
You would be if it was a
you just be
swarm.
like, guys, it's cool. You just
They're
walk
our
out into
friends.
the giant
Just gorge them on flies.
that you just have handy.
Yeah, you got to collect all the crickets and flies. Go to the pet store, get all the crickets.
Fire.
Fires, yeah, that'll help you for a while. Can you make fire if you have no matches?
Well, we didn't say I didn't have matches. Where are we?
We didn't say you did have matches.
You're
Gotta be butane
You're
and
in
stuff,
a
right?
What happens when
regular
you burn
town.
up all your fuel? I.e. wood and furniture and all that stuff.
Then you start using spiders.
Will the spiders follow the scent of your warm blood? Can you lure them somewhere?
Are these giant spiders? or-
No, these are just like creepy crawly spiders.
I don't
I
know. They're
unleash
spiders.
Jeff
I'm not
on
afraid
them
of them.
because
Stop
he is
them.
the bane of all spiders.
But millions of them. Well, okay. Spider story, side bag, true confession. I shouldn't have done this. And
Spider hell awaits thee.
And I'm going straight to Spider hell. I acknowledge this. Although I would like to repent to Spider Jesus and accept him into my heart. If that'll buy me just 1 minute out of that
Announce
Curse
hear
it.
our prayer.
eternal web. But one time there was a massive spider on the outside of our screen door, and we're like, oh gross, look at it. And we could get up right next to it and just see like its thick legs. It was like a shaved tarantula. It was so fucking gross how big this like wolf spider was. And so I got a bottle of hairspray and a lighter,
Oh no.
and
Melted the screen door.
we were standing inside. Worse. We were standing inside, and I did the thing where I flicked the lighter and I shot the hairspray and created a jet of flame, hoping like, haha, I can harmless to us, kill this spider. And what had happened is we just melted one of its legs into the screen door mesh. So it was running around like freaking out, of course, without in terrible pain. And we're like, ah. So we went outside, climbed onto the porch, and shot it again. And then it fell burning through the slats of the deck down to where all the dry dead leaves had collected. And I was like, ah! So we had to run and get water and extinguish this. Like, it was like the end of the thing. Like, guys are getting flamethrowered and like running on fire.
Jesus Christ. Is there no end to your spider
Right.
torture?
No, there's not. But in a Kingdom of the Spiders scenario, I would definitely employ some of these
fire.
handmade flamethrowers.
Can you... Is there anything we know about spiders, i.e. their attraction to certain pheromones or
Well, in
vibrations?
Kingdom of the Spiders, they hooked up a PA system and played the sound of,
Barry White.
of wasps,
Oh, that was Simpsons.
of parasitic wasps.
Wow.
Because that made tarantulas, who were their the natural victim of the tarantula hawks, made them all cringe.
That
and kinda
was...
freeze up.
That's like crazily cerebral for a killer spider movie.
With William
William
Shatner.
Shatner.
Yeah. Well, true fact about spiders is they have terrible vision.
Yeah.
So they can only see like 1/8 of an inch. So I wonder if you could just elude them. But the idea of a spider swarm.
There'd be like
just
so many
everywhere.
that there would
There's
be...
so
You'd
many.
just be covered in webs, your whole house.
So you probably would have put on some thick clothing, some work gloves. Ideally,
Just start smashing.
just start smashing. Try to get to your car, seal up all the vents, and then just
Well, as my
Drive
spider
out of
stories
town.
have shown, spiders will do anything they can to get inside my car, so I still wouldn't be safe.
oh, they can get in for sure.
Go
You know,
inside.
if you had some of that spray adhesive, then if you ran to your car, and then you used the spray adhesive on your vents, so as they were coming in, you could spray them and kind of glue up the works without poisoning yourself by spraying Raid into like your own.
You could probably,
vents
well,
and
as your
windows.
spider stories have showed, Raid won't do in the long
Not,
term.
not on those.
You could probably get like a
beastly
leaf
spiders.
blower and blow a path of spiders away.
A leaf blower.
like
That's
parting
a
the Red Sea
fantastic
is-
idea.
Just clear a path.
A leaf blower with a little propane torch at the end.
Sounds like a Dead Rising weapon
Yeah,
or something.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Or one of the reverse leaf blowers that's actually a vacuum that shreds the leaves when you suck them in.
That would also be very good.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Or a lawnmower, I guess. Any of that kind of.
I think we'd survive a spider swarm.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I could get out of that.
We'd probably have some welts, though, at the very least.
Yeah, it'd be poisonous.
Some eggs would be laid in our face for sure.
No doubt.
We'd be eating many spiders in our sleep, even though that was an urban legend spread on the internet.
Well, what I love about the urban legend about swallowing spiders in your sleep is that they say on average, and it's like, wait, so this is average.
Who's measuring?
So some people swallow more, some people less, and the people that are measuring this are just sitting there with a clipboard like,
One,
that's
two,
two spiders,
three.
No, this guy can't get enough. 5 spiders. He's really
I
bringing
feel
the
like we
average
should
up.
shoo some of these spiders away.
No.
This is all the
This is
humanity.
science. We cannot tamper with this experiment.
Like the tortoises on the the sea turtles rather that you're not supposed to like save from predators. Anyway, I ruined that. Ooh.
Chinese sister.
All right, I'm reaching into the Halloween bag, pulling out some candy, and then pulling out a topic. My candy is Airheads, strawberry and watermelon.
Ugh.
So sugary.
Ryan, you want this?
No.
Ugh. All right. And
Trying to foist your airheads on me. I know what that means.
my topic is
Foist?
my topic is Halloween versus Christmas creep. So we've all been there. It's October 1st. You're at Target or Walmart or Home Depot or Osh or whatever your local store is, and they're getting out all the Halloween stuff. You're like, ooh, October 31st is coming up. Best time of the year. Halloween spirit is rising. There's cinnamon and pumpkin scents and all sorts of fun, spooky toys and decorations and cookies and craft beers. And then, boom, October 8th, Christmas trees and Santas as far as the eye can see. A fucking travesty.
I remember when I was working on Ed's daughter's costume a few years back. I was going Ozma costume. I went to the Osh hardware store near my apartment, just like all October, trying to get new materials to make these props, and it was so great. It put me right in the Halloween mood because they had set up like a bunch of hay bales and all their Halloween decorations, and it was just wonderful. And then the next year, I was so excited when October rolled around because I was like, yay, Osh is going to have, all their stuff out. And it's weird to be like excited about a hardware store to put me in the Halloween spirit, but that was the first year that they trotted out the Christmas decorations like only a week or two into October, and it really soured my Halloween mood because it was
Why
like,
does it do that?
it's not even Halloween yet, and I'm thinking about Christmas. And this year, Osh, sadly, R.I.P., is going out of business completely. They're closing down every store. And so they put out the Halloween decorations and the Christmas decorations in September. So I couldn't even get a week of October thrills. And they certainly didn't bother putting out any hay bales and making it,
I have no issue with Christmas decorations coming up early.
It doesn't kind of
doesn't bother
intrude
me
on
at
your
all.
Halloween spirit.
No. I'm in the Halloween mode, and
It reminds
when I
me
need
of
to turn to
Christmas.
Christmas, I'll turn to Christmas. It's fine.
Yeah, but
I
it's
love
there.
Christmas.
It's just there in your peripheral vision, like trying to put its cheer on you.
But that's okay. I love Christmas.
Well, I do
So it's
too,
fine.
but a time and a place for everything, and everything in its place.
I don't know. I feel like I'm in the best part of the year because I'm doing Halloween now, and I got
Halloween and
Christmas
Christmas are too close together. Discuss.
coming. No, I'm doing Halloween, and I got Christmas to
Call
look
back.
forward to. So it's like I'm totally happy to be reminded Christmas is coming.
I mean, it's...
That's why we don't invite you anywhere at Halloween time. Ed.
Because you show up in a Santa suit or something?
Well, hold on. Because there is a corollary or a side bag to this topic of Halloween versus Christmas creep. We may not have found common ground on that issue, but I do think it's interesting how in the mix-up, Halloween is kind of leaking into Christmas. And maybe it's because they're both kind of being merged together on the same calendar space, but movies like the Krampus.
I think you're leaning
yeah, the
heavily on
Krampus horror
Krampus for
movies.
this, and
There's
I think
also
that's
the Yule
also
Lads. There's Krampusnacht. There's
that's also Krampus.
There's Nightmare Before Christmas is as big now as it ever was.
I would say bigger, probably.
Yeah, I mean, there is a sort of revival of the spooky side of Christmas, which was always there traditionally.
It's like steampunk, though. It's like what sells in the moment. Like soon, people will be sick of Krampus. They probably already are.
They'll be sick of
And then
Krampus,
no one will give a shit about Krampus
but there's
anymore.
also the Yule Lads and the
I don't know
Yule
what that
Cat.
is. What's...
There are so many awesome Scandinavian and Nordic spooks in the Christmas season. I intend to just...
Didn't you talk about this last year? Like the worm and all that
I
stuff?
intend to bore you all during the Christmas special about the
You mean the Christmas
many-
Spectacular?
The Christmas, sorry.
Wait, are we
Spectacular.
talking about the Christmas Spectacular?
Oh,
during
no,
the
it's
Halloween?
creeping
it's
in.
intruding
You
onto
guys are
Halloween.
creeping. See what I'm saying? I wasn't even talking about that stuff.
I didn't think you'd notice that. Next
Tunnel
topic.
vision. All right, I know what this box is. I frankly could go for some Boston baked beans.
Ah, my
A
big discovery
tradition
from last
on
year.
6DB.
Yeah,
Makes
I'll
a
share
return
some of my
appearance.
BBBs with you, Ed.
yeah, my big
And I
discovery.
don't mean Boston baked beans. And the topic I have pulled is Pumpkin Massacre. Well, this is Jeff's story.
This is my
Take it away,
story.
Jeff. This is nature intruding on Halloween.
So,
I'm going to chew my Boston baked beans into the microphone if you don't mind.
Don't chew mine.
there's a technique in the world of pumpkin carving which is called pumpkin etching. If you have a pumpkin that's on the vine while it's still green, you can scratch a pattern into the pumpkin and it will heal and scar over, and then you can create these intricate scarified pumpkins. And I thought the only way to bring my pumpkin game up to the next level would be to grow my own pumpkins from seedlings and carve different designs and faces and words and messages into them.
I know somebody else who tried this, and I'm assuming it's turned out the same way, but go ahead.
So
Prepare to be surprised.
I started a couple months ago, and I raised up a pretty decent little crop of pumpkins, and the scarification worked beautifully. I had one that said boo. I had one that said our family name. I did a skull into one. I did a wacky face into another one. These were all just like test runs, and they were awesome. These nice, medium-sized pumpkins, bright orange and full, good shape. These cool scar patterns in them. And so then I was like, all right, we got about 2 months until Halloween, so I'm going to start on a next bigger batch and really going to start to, plan out these intricate designs. And then one day I found a hole gnawed in one of my pumpkins, and I was like, damn
Damn it, Amanda.
what is getting into these pumpkins? And so then another pumpkin got eaten, and it got like gutted. It looked like someone had stuck a grenade into this thing, kind of like in Starship Troopers where they shot that giant
Suck
bug.
the pumpkin's brains
They
out.
sucked its brains out. And just orange gore and seeds everywhere. So I looked online how to like keep animals from eating your pumpkins. I put some hot sauce on them. That didn't work. I went out and got some Halloween decorations. I got a big bat and a little motion-activated witch that would cackle. And so there was like a motion sound alarm, a big scary predatory shape. I got this owl on a stick with glowing lights. All things meant to scare away little nibbling mammals. None of that worked. Pumpkins were still getting taken.
Is it a rabbit? Or?
And so, I didn't know what it was.
Is it a lepus?
And
Is it Judy
eventually, I took some of the
hope so.
some of the pumpkins and put them on our patio, and I put them in milk crates and covered them up.
I remember that. Yeah, you showed me that.
And I saw a big old squirrel out there on our patio one day trying to sneak in. And so I chased him off, and I was like, oh, just damn squirrel. So I got some squirrel repellent. I got this heavy-duty stuff that's made of like sulfur and fox urine and
squirrels.
cat urine, ground up squirrels, just all kinds of foul stuff. And I just sprayed it all over the pumpkins. It smelled horrible, but the squirrels did not care. The squirrel did not care.
Wow.
Squirrel
What did
came
it do
back.
to the pumpkins, huh?
The squirrel didn't care.
Squirrel did not care at all.
I would assume that was the case.
The squirrel just used it like a garnish and just started eating these pumpkins.
Squirrel knows where its bread is buttered.
And so
inside your pumpkins.
all I had were these last remaining pumpkins that I had in this little Supermax prison I'd created out of these milk crates. And the patio is right by our bedroom. And one night we heard this kind of grating, sliding noise. And in the morning, we go out there and see that the squirrel had pushed the milk crates aside, gone in, and devoured another one of the pumpkins. So I'm on high alert now. I'm trolling the perimeter, and my one ace in the hole is our dog Penny, who has never seen a squirrel. She has not wanted to chase and murder. And then finally it happened. The squirrel came over our back patio fence, was sniffing around the rest of the pumpkins we had in the milk crates, and our dog was there, and she just stared at it in a way I've never seen her stare at anything. Like, it captivated her, but also did not arouse her anger or curiosity in any particular way. She just kind of stared in bewilderment at the squirrel, and the squirrel was like, all right, I'm gonna eat these pumpkins. At this point, this squirrel has eaten 9 whole pumpkins and is like this
living
crazy,
large,
jacked, just pumpkin spice barbarian. So it ate all my pumpkins. I won't have time to grow new ones by Halloween. That tree is dead.
I must say, I'm really digging this squirrel for loving pumpkin as much as I do.
You should name that squirrel. Yeah.
I don't know, pumpkin egger.
Yeah.
So,
Pumpkinhead.
I'm not going to poison a squirrel or anything. So, good
God
on you.
bless 'em.
Good on you, squirrel. I hope you enjoyed them.
I hope he will share some of my pumpkin butter with me.
He
probably
just
won't love
might. He just might.
When will they love this loneliness?
Oh, I think I got another bar. What's a Mr. Goodbar? AVP Monster Mash Show.
Voldemort versus Lopan.
Lopan's got... Both these guys have organizations. But Voldemort takes the edge because his guys are wizards, I think. Whereas Lopan has a bunch of...
They're wizards.
Well,
Of what
I'm thinking
kind?
of Lopan's gang, mostly. Like the Lords of Death. But he also has the Three Storms.
Oh, right.
And the
3 Storms versus a Legion of Death Eaters.
and the Peking Wildman.
And the Beholder thing.
Oh, yeah, and the Watchers, the Guardians, or whatever.
All those weird statues.
What they see, Lopan
Although they
knows.
can be killed just by knives, so.
Oh, you mean the guys in the armor? Those aren't statues. Just guys with armor.
I feel like they're demons, though. Are they just dudes?
Those Guardian Warrior guys with the
Yeah.
swords, the one landed on Jack and he couldn't get up.
I guess they're just dudes.
Yeah,
Really
they're just
heavy
guys
dudes.
in armor. Guards dressed for Lopan's wedding.
Lopan himself, however,
Says it.
intangible. We have to specify pre-nuptials Lopan or post-nuptials Lopan.
Oh, it's true, Lopan's a ghost.
Has he satisfied his
Has he
requirements
appeased
to
Chindai?
Chindai?
Voldemort had problems.
Voldemort couldn't be killed while all his Horcruxes were active. And Lopan could not be killed while he was a ghost.
And Voldemort had problems with ghosts, too.
Could Voldemort somehow
Voldemort
tangify?
Well, I
Lopan?
think Voldemort could kill a ghost.
Could Voldemort turn himself into a green-eyed lady and...
Seduce Lopan?
Now
No,
we're talking. That's
no.
some AVP.
There was that the scene
First.
in Goblet of Fire where the ghosts oppose him and allow Harry to escape.
But those ghosts were kind of tied into Harry's scar, which was tied into the Horcrux, which was tied into...
that was a suspect scene because that was a priori incantatum. So they weren't actually the ghosts of the victims. They were only a manifestation of the previous spells cast by the wand in question. So it's a little bit of a gray area.
Okay.
That's some good wand lore, Ryan.
Yeah, that's deep wand lore there. All right.
10 points to Gryffindor.
Voldemort wins.
Yeah, I gotta give it to Voldemort too.
I give it to the Death Eaters.
Yeah, I give it
I
in a
don't know how
one-on-one.
Voldemort would claim victory.
In a one-on-one, Voldemort and Lopan, I think I'd go
They
for
just
Lopan.
fight for eternity.
I think I'd go for Lopan because he's got the experience. The experience, I think, is what pushes it over for him. He's like 1,000.
He probably has powers.
He
that
has
we've
shit
not
that you
seen.
didn't see.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Whereas in a fight with the entire organization, the Death
Also, he
Eaters,
has a literal god controlling his destiny. So
So if there was a scenario where Voldemort could somehow make a deal with Qingdai,
Voldemort doesn't know about Qingdai. He lives in England.
Yeah, he's probably an imperialist.
I will not love, little sister.
all right, my candy is a Tootsie Fruit Chew, a vanilla fruit.
What have you done to all of us?
I wanted to get weird candies to simulate those kind of...
Like all the crappy things
Yeah.
that you get egged over for giving away
yeah,
on Halloween.
It's like
Look, I could have gotten a bunch of
like
high
full
top
bars
shelf
or
candy.
go
you
home.
just should have
Full
thrown
bars.
Bertie Bott's every flavor beans in there or some shit.
I
Next-
thought about
Pull
it.
out
That's
boogers.
actually sounds real fancy.
No,
Next year, full bars.
I wanted
I'll
to
be responsible.
recreate the weird, random chance stuff that
You certainly
would just
did.
end up
Although
with.
we have to. Is there a candy apple in there and
There's not a candy apple, but there is
Piece
a
of
pouch.
homemade treats?
a
Did you ever
pouch-
get any homemade treats?
A
on,
pouch with 15 cents, a Rice Krispie bar, and a toothbrush from
Is there
the
a
dentist.
UNICEF box in there?
Yes. The bag is empty. There's candy, but no more topics.
What kind of candy? do I get?
Wow. Well, we really, as we've discussed, we
Taking a crunch.
really had a bit of a bind this year because last year we really covered all the good, obvious Halloween topics, and we did it with such aplomb.
I think we did some good ones this year.
Well, we did. We certainly did. Jeff really pulled it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Neither of us contributed. That's for sure.
Your
No.
presence was enough.
I set up the microphones. You're welcome, America.
I just
And
talk.
Zimbabwe?
Mozambique.
Mozambique. Halloween is upon us. We have very few plans, unlike most years.
It is a Wednesday Halloween.
Wednesday
Yeah,
Halloween,
not the
except
best.
that
The worst
they-
kind of Halloween.
We have a lot going on this year, as opposed to other years in the past.
Well, I'll be on a somewhere in the Bahamas on a cruise ship, decked out with. They put. I
Lots
saw
of
pictures
skeletons.
of it. Yeah, they put up a big. What's the thing that they do? That Disney does on Halloween. What's their big Halloween thing? They do Jack Skellington, right? That's Disney.
Yeah.
Jack Skellington.
Nightmare
Yeah, they got a
Before
big
Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas display with a huge tree in the middle of the Titanic area with the stairs, and everything. It's pretty. It's cool looking. See what
I
happens.
think you guys are going to have a blast.
I agree.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. It's going to be
Ryan's-
a weird Halloween for me. Very singular.
Ryan's celebrating his nuptials this upcoming weekend.
Double nups.
Double nups. Nups out.
So that'll be spooky.
Cups
for sure.
out and nups out.
Yeah, I don't know. The first few Halloweens that I lived in Los Angeles, I spent largely by myself. I would carve a pumpkin. I would get a pizza. I would watch Halloween Tree. And then I would go to bed. I'm glad that I now have lots of stuff to do, fun stuff, some Halloween compatriots, minus Ed, of course, because
Yeah.
why do we want
Celebrating
him
Christmas.
around
I'm not
yeah,
hardcore, apparently.
with his tunnel vision?
But Los Angeles is a wonderful place for Halloween.
Yeah,
Because there's
it
so
is.
many people that are so dyed-in-the-wool fans of movies and monsters and creativity and
Yeah, FX
costumes.
community people and stuff.
I was really kind of worried when I left New England. I was like, oh man, there's no way Halloween could ever be as good. It's better.
It's
In
better
some
in some
ways.
ways and not as good in some ways.
If you want to go to a party, it's better.
Yeah.
If you want to go to a theme park, it's better.
Well,
If you want-
it used to be anyway.
Cider in the woods under a harvest moon. Well,
With
If you want to stumble into a Polish
orange
bar,
leaves.
you want to stumble into a Polish bar and get drunk by a bristly mustache, kissed by a bristly
groped.
mustached guy. Yeah, you probably get that here too. Actually,
I probably could.
Just wait.
But
Just wait.
I think Patton Oswalt was saying that Halloween is the time where the nerds and the dweebs and the monster kids win. Like the whole world comes over to your side for just one day.
Isn't that all the time now, though? Isn't that the whole deal with our society now?
It's
that the meek
true
have inherited
that
the earth.
it's said that, but I don't
Culture,
think so.
Is
Yeah, because even on Halloween, I still get
mainstream.
outclassed by the fucking cowboys. Those fucking cowboys.
Yes, but I gotta say,
Cowboys.
as someone who spends a lot of time in their imagination, or who has always been considered weird, who's always been preoccupied with monsters and spooky things, having the publicly acceptable chance to be someone else for a night, or to go outside and see everyone enjoying the same thing you enjoy, is so magical. I really do love Halloween. It is a time where creativity and play is on display across our entire country. And there's candy, and there's parties, and there's just a carefree, wonderful magic to it. And I think it's so much more special than just, a TV special here or a sexy costume there. I love me some Halloween.
Ditto.